and, you know, try to, you know, cut it down if they need to.
And we're always available to read essays too. So if you feel like you want to run it by us as well as your English teachers, some English teachers work on it in class. You know, it really depends on the teacher. But it's an important part of the application for a lot of schools. It's a chance for students to really put their personality on paper, because up to that point they're just seeing scores and grades. So you know, really, it's a good way to show who you are as a person with the essay. All right, teacher and counselor recommendations. These are really important. Teacher recommendations, some people automatically go to the teachers that gave them the best grade. That's not necessarily the best person to ask. The best person to ask is the teacher who you feel like knows you the best. You know, you could have gotten a C in that class.
But you worked really hard.
But yeah, you worked really hard, you really liked the class, you know, you put a lot of effort into that class. The teachers know that. The counselor recommendations, that's why we try to meet with you guys as much as possible.
We do write a letter for each one of our students. We will require you to fill out a brag sheet, which is just general information about what you've done over 4 years. We will take a lot of what you have to say and put it in a letter, but we at some point will touch base with each one of our students and talk about what should I write in your letter, and that brag sheet is very helpful. But we do write a letter for each student. The sooner your brag sheet is done, the letter.
The sooner the letter is done.
For instance, I write a lot of my letters over the summer, so if a student has done his part, in September their letter will be ready, but it all depends on the student when they're ready. The brag sheet will be available around April. So
There's also a parent brag sheet, which we find really, really helpful. So if you can take the time to do that, it's not as many questions as the student brag sheet, but having the parent perspective is really helpful with that. Okay, interviews and or campus visits. Some schools, well, all schools are going to keep track of whether or not you visit a campus. Some schools, it may play into their admissions decision.
Lehigh,
Yeah.
they're big on that.
They call it, yeah, they call it demonstrated interest. So are you demonstrating that you're interested in that school? For a lot of schools that are within a drivable range, they're kind of going to expect you to visit campus. It's also important for you to visit campus. It's important to understand what the campus feels like we were talking about earlier with campus personality. Is this a place where you feel like you're going to do well, where you feel like you want to be for 4 years? And that's important. It's hard to tell that if you don't see the campus. Interviews. We were actually talking about this a little bit earlier.
I've had an interview with some of my seniors who request an interview and then they cannot interview. They're either too shy, they don't know how to talk about themselves, they panic. You know, it's not that it will hurt you, but just don't do it. You know, this is really an opportunity for you to kind of shine. And so if you're confident in that area and you feel that you can talk to someone, we will work with you, we'll prep you. You know, sometimes I do kind of like little mock interviews with my students, but if you just can't do it, if you're just too shy, we don't encourage you to do it. We sometimes just worry that, you know, I guess no recommendation or no information from the alumni who's reviewing you is not always helpful. So if you can't do it, don't do it. If you can, more power to you. We definitely will encourage you to do that.
And it's a way to add to your application.
Yeah.
It's not really going to take away all that much. You know, I actually read applications last year for a college, and I didn't really pay so much attention to, and they were all alumni interviews, so I didn't really pay so much attention to the bad ones, but when it was a good one, it was really, really helpful.
If it's going to cause you stress, don't do it.
Yeah.
If it's going to cause you stress, don't do it. You know, I've had students, the same student come to me like 3 or 4 times, and it's not getting any better, so if it's going to cause you stress, don't do it.
And some schools don't even do them.
Yeah.
So, you know, a lot of the bigger schools, unless you're going for a specific program, or you need to do a portfolio review, or you need to do some sort of audition, some of the schools don't even offer them. And that's things you check on the website, the admissions websites will all say it. And last, extracurricular activities. What have you been doing with your free time throughout high school?
Have you been committed, you know?
Yeah.
You didn't change an activity every year that you've done it, you know?
Right.
You found something, you know, you found passion in something, and so we definitely want to encourage you to stick with it.
Right. Yeah. Are you sitting at home playing Xbox, or are you involved with?
Teaching kids to read.
Yeah.
Helping build
With
confidence.
volunteering or
Feeding the kids.
tutoring or something like that. So Those are definitely important things that colleges consider. Types of colleges. There's a lot of different types of colleges.
I don't know if we need to go through all of them,
No.
but I think some of the ones that you definitely want to consider are some of these guaranteed transfer programs, like Penn State, where you can attend a satellite school if you maintain a certain grade point average, you can go to the main campus at some point. Some students who maybe haven't done as well as they would have liked in high school, sometimes will start off at a 2-year college. Some places have housing. So for instance, Onondaga is connected to Syracuse, so you can attend a 2-year community college near Syracuse. As long as you maintain a certain grade point average, apply for housing right away, you can then get into Syracuse with one of their programs. Binghamton does the same thing. So there are definitely a lot of options, even for students who maybe didn't do as well as they wanted to in high school and now would like to consider post-secondary options.
The specialized institutions. If you're a musician, an artist, you're interested in culinary school, health sciences, some of those are a lot more specialized and will require you going to a more specialized college. Some of them are housed within bigger universities, so that's something to consider when you're looking at schools. Like we said, the 2-year colleges, the community colleges, tech schools, trade schools, if that's something you're interested in.
We do encourage students
be able to
to
help you
do,
with
let's say,
all that.
undecided programs to really consider a university or college, a liberal arts school. You don't want to set yourself up into, let's say, into an art institution, and then you're kind of stuck. A lot of our students who are interested in art will also go to university to maybe major in something else, or double major. Like I've had students who do music and bio. Although it's a lot of work because they're passionate in both areas, they might not know exactly what they want to pursue, so they kind of commit to both and go from there. So try not to kind of commit to one thing unless that you know exactly that that's what you want.
And that goes back to what we were saying before about finding schools that will let you switch majors if you want to do that, will let you take classes between colleges within the university. How difficult, if you don't know what you want to do going in, how difficult is it to switch majors, that sort of thing. So that's something you want to consider when you're looking. And those are questions you can ask when you're visiting schools too.
So where do these conversations start? They begin at home. And, I just returned back from maternity leave, and I am starting to see a lot of my juniors, and I think it's been great that a lot of my juniors are ready in some way, shape, or form. They've started talking to their parents. They're open to the idea. There's kind of like a general understanding at home as to where they're going to look and what they've started doing. So I think that, this year our juniors really are at a great place. Talking to older friends and family about their experiences. And sometimes, the teachers here are open to having students come and speak with them about the institution that they went to. Sometimes it's helpful because you kind of hear from someone else as to where they went and the kind of experience they had. It's a little tricky though when maybe a parent attended a university that is extremely competitive now. And so sometimes as parents we want our kids to go where we went, and it's not always as easy. So although we do encourage you guys to talk about it, we also say don't put too much pressure because we don't know how competitive the school has changed in the past not so many years. Identify possibilities, know your resources. Use Naviance. Some students don't like to use the search engine, but some of them will look at College Board or Peterson's or Rugs. We have books in our offices that our students can sometimes borrow if they want to look at schools for specific majors. So there are a lot of resources out there. How many of you have received packets and packets of information because you took the PSATs or the SATs and every college has sent you something? Yeah. So look at it and then maybe choose the ones that you're really interested in, keep those, and toss the others. I always tell them to save paper. But the majority of your information will come from the websites, all these schools have admission profile information on their websites. Who was admitted last year? What are the stats? Diversity, how many students enrolled from different parts of the country? What was the average GPA? What was the average SAT score? So sometimes even Naviance will allow you to kind of look at a web page and do a virtual tour, and we'll show you what that looks like.
And look at the different resources too. As far as, she was talking about the college search on Naviance. Do it on Naviance and then do it on the College Board website and see if you get different schools based on the criteria that you put in. You got to do your research is basically what it comes down to. So it's going to take a lot of work on the juniors' part. You're going to do a lot of reading, a lot of web surfing, and looking at
we'll work with you.
colleges
We'll encourage you guys to look at certain schools that maybe you didn't think of. I actually met a family that I had their son who graduated 2 years ago, and they go, thank you so much for recommending this school. He's there now, he loves it. We would have never thought of looking at it. So sometimes we are your resource, and during these junior planning meetings, it's going to give us an opportunity to really sit down and speak with you guys. So what will those look like? After scheduling, which will happen in March, in April, a letter will be sent home inviting you to attend your son or daughter's junior planning meeting. It's going to be a 50-minute meeting between the hours of 8 to 3. We have to actually pull your student out of a specific course area, so either an elective or PE. So although sometimes we want to work around your schedule, we really have to work around the student schedule because we're not allowed to pull them out of a core class. During that time, we'll talk about those decision factors that Ms. Abrams had mentioned. We'll talk about testing, whether or not you've already completed that. We'll discuss what schools maybe you already have as a list. Some students are ready with a list at that time. If you're not, we then will maybe help start you off with a list that you can start researching. We'll again use Family Connection. We'll discuss with you the application process and how everything gets sent. I'm a big visual person, so I have nice little charts that I'll show you how things go. But for the most part, you'll kind of know exactly what you need to do over the summer and in September, and how to get started. But really the conversation starts at home. So once those meetings take place, one of the things we'll do is we'll have you come in and we'll say, so tell me, where are you at? What have you done so far? What schools are you looking at? And it is helpful if we can have some feedback because we know then how to guide you.
And keep in mind too that the break coming up is a really good time to go look at schools, as well as spring break.
It's quiet. Some of the times the schools are quiet, but at least you can go and kind of get a feel of the location.
And some people say that they're we're just going to wait till the summer. It's a really good idea to see campuses when the students are there. It's a very different feeling. I mean, I use an example. My stepdaughter is in college right now, and we went to look at some schools over the summer, and we were at one particular school in the Boston area at about 5 o'clock on a Friday during the summer. Nobody did. There was nothing going on. I think we were the only ones on campus. She and I went back in October. Very different feeling, and she ended up applying there. So it's not where she is, but she ended up applying. It's a very, very different feeling when the students are there than when there's nobody there. Okay, additional resources. We're talking about the individual college websites. They are a wealth of information. The admissions pages, the academic pages. I always say make sure you look at the admissions pages and look at the requirements for getting in. Look at if there's particular programs you're interested in. Go to that academic page. Let's say you're interested in business. Go to the business website. Go to the different, whether it's marketing or entrepreneurship or any of those things. Go to the particular program that you're thinking about. Even if it's not a definite, get an idea. Think about what you're interested in studying and read about it. Really educate yourself on it. Other college planning websites, like we were saying with College Board, Peterson's is another one that has a lot of good information. They're one of the college guide companies. Just do general searches and see what comes up. There's other websites that are more student-driven websites like College Confidential, where you kind of get the student's point of view and understanding what the school is all about. The college brochures and viewed books, which we mentioned earlier, which you're getting inundated with right now. College fairs. So the one at LHS is on April 21st. I know the
Milburn is usually November.
Milburn is November. Check around. There's also a national college fair, which are usually pretty large. There's always one in New York. So you can check that out if you're down in Philadelphia. They do one down there too. If you just do a general Google search of National College Fair, you can pull up a list of when and where those are.
Now you might feel like you're not going to be able to go to visit every school that your son or daughter is interested in. In September, we do have college visits that admissions reps come to us. So in Naviance, in September, your child will be able to enroll to up to 5 schools. They have to get permission from their teacher to attend, but many of the admissions reps who will be reviewing their files will be here, and they can sign up in Naviance, and we'll show you where to sign up.
You say what, in September?
In September. It starts September and it ends in December. So every day, about all day long, we get admissions reps